Hey everyone, welcome back to the Primary Position Studio. It's me, David Quaid, the SEO guy, and today I'm going to answer a question. Someone asked me to give them some ideas about their site on X. It's something I'm quite familiar with because I've had an E-Trade account for 28 years now, and I've actually done a lot of work in fintech and banking, and it's something I find really interesting. So I am going to give a quick lowdown of what's wrong with their site, what they can do to help improve it. I'm going to share a screen. Basically, if you've been wondering what does an SEO like me do, how do we think, how do we evaluate sites when we're browsing web and we see a domain name or someone shoots us a domain name and we have like 10 minutes to evaluate a domain name, what's the thinking process, what's going through our heads, what do we look at, how do we look at them? This is my quick 10-minute guide. So the person that's asked me to do this, I asked them if they're happy with me doing this as a public video. It comes care of thinkvalue.co, and they said I'm at the shut up and listen phase. Please give me advice. I said, like, is it okay if I do a public video? They said, just if you need any info, it doesn't need to be positive. I'm not here to slate anyone. I commend anyone who sets up their own business. I think everyone should. I think being self-employed is great. So I am definitely not here to put anyone's business down. I'm just going to tell you how I look at it, even if I didn't know you, even if I just came up on a random site. This is the narration that goes in my head. So first things first, you can go to ChatGPT or Perplexity in this case, and I asked it to tell me who your competitors are. It didn't come up with anything. My next slide is, or my next screen is SEMrush's domain overview. Let's just zoom in a bit here. So you're not ranking in AI. That's pretty obvious because you're not ranking anywhere. Your authority score is 10. This is very, very low. The industry you're in is like 100. Here's your referring domains and backlinks. Here's the number of keywords you rank for. Here's the number of keywords are in the estimated traffic. This is all baloney. I wouldn't worry about it. And then I thought we would maybe bring up E-Trade and have a look at what they're ranking for. So here's E-Trade. Let me just step back. So I did record this video. I spent 20 minutes. I got into quite a lot of ideas, and then I realized it wasn't recording. So I am going to refresh this and do a like-to-like comparison. So I was having a look at your backlinks quickly. Backlinks for you are going to be critical, right? So I know a lot of people say, like, you got to write great content, build a great product. If nobody can experience your product, they can't recommend your product. If nobody can find your website, they're not going to know if you've got great content. Sorry, it's all bullshit. You're going to need backlinks to stand out in this industry. I don't know if you've been buying backlinks. I don't care. What's interesting is that people are trying to sell you backlinks. People used to do this with referrals. They would send you traffic via a referral page. You would see it. You go like, oh, wow, why is this website sending me traffic? You click on it, and then effectively you'd realize that they're trying to sell you traffic. If I click this order now button, it's going to take me to a Fiverr site, right, where this guy is trying to sell backlinks. You're not going to get here by buying backlinks on Fiverr. Let's have a look at E-Trade. They have 17,000 domains, 203,000 backlinks. I would say that the vast majority are rubbish, but they have an authority score of 59. Just to put it into perspective, 10 is as close to 59 in the same sense that it's easier to get from 10 to 20 than it probably is to get from 53 to 59, right? That's the kind of challenge you're looking at. I think E-Trade is a great place to compare because they are also a stock ticker site. This is essentially what your site does. By the way, it looks really good. I like white on black. It looks nice. This is very smooth. This is very well built. You've crammed a lot of information here. That's fantastic, but it's a terrible idea. Also, I'm colorblind, and this color scheme is really hard for colorblind men to read. We are 1 in 7 men are colorblind. We're at least 50% of your target audience. I'd fix that if I were you. What I'm really looking at, I don't care about this, is I'm looking at your page titles and how bad they are, right? This is your page title. Let's go over here and do a Google site search so we can just get like how bad this is. So site thinkvalue.co. Your homepage says home. This is like a pet peeve, right? Unless you're competing with other sites called home, you don't need this here. This is just such a waste of valuable real estate. If you look at E-Trade, I don't know that E-Trade actually, survives on SEO that much, but they're certainly spending a lot of time. Okay, obviously they've got, this is interesting. They've got sitemaps, and their sitemaps are ranked very high in their, and look at this. This gives you an idea of all of the pages they have on their site. hundreds and hundreds of pages. A lot of these are dynamically driven, right? They are PSEO pages. You have data. I'm going to show you why that's important. So you've got AAPL up here. Wonder what happens if we look at, so I had a look at the site earlier as part of my earlier analysis. Let's just do a look for by Apple, and I'm just going to put in stock. Here's public, right? So public.com are actually doing really well. Doesn't actually look as good as your site. It looks shit. I prefer your site actually, except I like the white background. But you see the way they've got up here. Buy Apple stock, AAPL stock quote, today and investment insights. The today and investment insights guarantee is the strapline by the CMO who doesn't know anything about SEO and should be fired immediately. But anyway, what they have is they have each of these as separate pages about options chain, market cap, PE ratio, forecast. So if you click on any of these, the page title changes and it matches what the page is about. So this is about AAPL stock forecast. This will tell you that this is their profit and earnings ratio page and current trend. That means that just for the word Apple, right, they have got lots and lots and lots and lots and more pages just around Apple. That creates topical authority, that creates pages. They also have pages like this, right, like the S&P 500 index with their top stocks, and here everything is linked on the ticker, right? The ticker is the most important things. When people are watching the news, they'll see NVDA, AAPL, Google, that kind of thing, and they make these clickable so they're indexable so that Google knows that this isn't just a page; it's a page about Apple, right? If I click here, we get back to that Apple page. I think that you're missing a lot of these things, right? So for example, you've got AAPL up here and then you've got AAP here. So you don't need all of that in the page title. But what's also really important is like how Google understands and expects from, understands and learns from Ahrefs text, right? So for example, I know eTrade is a difficult site to outrank. Some of the keywords that they have are truly delicious in terms of, I'm going to just filter by eTrade. eTrade is targeting your ICP, and you can build content that targets them that's very, very, very low keyword difficulty. So I explained this already before, which is why I'm so muddled up. But effectively, if we look at eTrade's traffic and the things that they're ranking for, I'm jumping ahead of myself with eTrade. I'll cut this out. If you look at the keywords, especially the high cost per click keywords that eTrade is ranking for, or even just the high volume keywords, you're going to see keyword scores of 100, right? 67, massive valuations on these keywords. Let's just take a look at volume. Typically, the more volume, the higher the keyword difficulty, but cost per click can also impact it. Cost per click means that these keywords have commercial intent. People are willing to pay big money for them. So look at these keywords, right? Stocks. The word stocks is one keyword difficulty score of 100. They rank 6th place. You need tens of thousands of backlinks that are high quality to get to that level, right? But here's a shortcut. If you just look for keywords with, for example, eTrade in them, the keyword difficulty score plummets while the cost per click value is actually still reasonably high. And you can do things like just rank for their address, right? They are ranking in 19th place for eTrade address. Like that, shame on them, bad SEO work. But look at this, eTrade versus Schwab. Both of these are targeting your ICP. Look at that keyword difficulty score, 17. That to me, I don't know if that's green or not, but that is screaming, just come and replicate me. $24 value, high value keywords, 720 searches per month. Not realistic, but definitely worth going after. eTrade fees at 23. Oh, hell yeah, I'd be all on for that. eTrade versus Robinhood, again, I guarantee you more than 590 people are looking for Robinhood and eTrade comparisons. It's a 19. You can definitely get to page 1 for that. Let me show you something, right? I'm going to type in what is Google LLC. Here I am ranking, and that's just because I just did the search. I'm above Apple, I'm above Google, and I'm above Reddit. And also, I have these lovely little buttons that Google's created. Look. How do I do that? My page is terrible, right? Unlike yours, you've got a beautiful page. I have this horrible WordPress blog that I refuse to put any time into it. I've got my breadcrumb trail. I think Gemini created this image for me. It's a long table of contents, but it's clickable. And all of this content is a couple of lines. This is super thin content. So that's why I think it's so funny when people say like, Google doesn't like thin content. Google likes my thin content more than it likes their thick content or whatever the hell you want to call it. But what it's doing is it's showing you that Google really, really trusts that href text. And that's what I want you to walk away with. And that's all that matters. They also reinforce that with these lists here, right? What they're doing is they're actually mostly reinforcing the page titles back to the individual pages, something that you're not doing. They also have a saved search page, or site search page. I thought they would have saved searches. It doesn't matter. Moving on. So I think the page titles of your pages need a lot of lift. Also, break up your main stock ticker pages into it. Like Google can't send people to these individual things. Especially if you're going to repeat the same terrible page title. This is effectively going to compete with the other one, except, okay, you've got profitability in there. These should all be individual pages. And then where's your footer? Like there's nothing in your footer. You could have all of these hundreds of pages written about Apple, getting hundreds of clicks, and then have a site footer that helps Google tell it more about your site and where to send people within it. So yeah, I'm going to stop there, but I hope you find something of value.